Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my beautiful human angels, and welcome to Soul Healing Summit 2. Today we have a special guest and a dear friend to my heart, Rodney Allgood. He's the creator of Mindshift 360, a high impact program helping high achieving entrepreneurs. For the past 3 decades, Rodney has learned that it's not enough to amass money. It is critical to align your business with your passion and your purpose. Also, as a foremost host of iHeartRadio show, It's All Good, Rodney has empowered people with the message that we're truly the screenwriters of our own lives. Whether he's speaking to high school, university, or Fortune 500 companies, Rodney is able to help people align with their belief and with their level and a true potential. Rodney, welcome to the Soul Healing Summit 2. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Veronica. How are you?
Very, very good. It's such a pleasure and honor to have you here because you are truly a role model. And I know we oftentimes meet up and have these conversations how we see the world in a very similar way, how we lead from our hearts. And we're here on a mission to serve the world. I want to know how you came across the mission because that hasn't been your mission since you were born. Am I correct?
No, not at all. I believe that the dots often connect looking backwards, and you can look and see why certain things happen in your life looking backwards, and the synchronicities and the events that seem strange at the time or just a chance happening really wasn't. For some of us, our calling is strong. I felt a strong calling to help people, and when I look back at my life and where I would volunteer my time and the things that I felt called to do, it really was signs of a bigger calling, you know. And once I stepped into it, a lot of synchronicities started to happen where things were just unfolding and the path was just opening up for me to to do what I do today, to be a speaker or to touch people's lives the way I do. It's been an incredible journey. It's so much of life is not the chance that we might think it is.
What was the pivotal moment for you that you're like, okay, I don't like the life that I'm living right now? There's got to be something bigger and something better out there. What was that moment for you?
Well, I was married. I was in a religion that I did not resonate with. I felt like I built a very big life on a bad foundation. And it's not fun. It's not fun when you don't feel inner peace. I kind of fell into the trap of a lot of people where you're just chasing the American dream and you think that having stuff and having outward success equals happiness, and it doesn't. You just get pulled further away from your truth. And life can become a lot about pleasing other people or being really focused on how you're perceived by other people, all that stuff. I got really caught up in that stuff. But I felt so out of alignment with my truth. And
Mm.
I was 41 years old and I decided to pull the plug on life as I knew it. And there was a lot to lose, but I just knew that one day I would be full of regret. One day I would feel like I was in this incarnation and missed it. The calling was so strong to live a life other than what I was living. So I just decided to restructure my life to absolutely rebuild the foundation and build it differently, which is what I did. And it's been an incredible journey. Not easy, but
Yeah.
incredible journey.
You touched on something very important, which is religion. And I know a lot of people in the audience are either religious or somehow have had an experience. I had my personal journey. Can you tell us about your religion and how did that truly impacted the life that you're living before?
Well, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. My whole family is still Jehovah's Witnesses. It's a very strict religion. It kind of tells you what your purpose is instead of allowing you to evolve into whatever it is. It's very structured. It's a high control group. And I never really fit in. It never really touched my soul. I was always I tried my best to fit in, but it never really resonated with me. But I would force myself. I mean, I got married into it and was raising a son into it. And one day I just couldn't do it anymore. It was too restrictive. It was so religion based in fear. And a lot of religions are based in fear. And that's a very low frequency.
Mm.
And it just did not, living from fear did not resonate with me at all. And I just knew I had a bigger calling than any structure that would hold me and limit me to where they thought I should be. I knew my purpose was very big. So I walked away from it. But when you walk away from a high control group like that, you're walking away from life as you know it. You're walking away from all your friends. You're walking away from all your family. I have siblings I haven't talked to, and one in particular I haven't talked to in a decade. It can be very hurtful. It's very challenging to restructure your life, losing everything that you knew up to that point. But in the end, it's worth it. It's always worth it to live your purpose.
That seems like such a huge leap of faith. And I know I personally have started my life from zero many times. But for you, from what I understand, you left behind not only the religion, not only all your friends and everything you know, you left behind your family, but also you said you did that when you were 40. When everything you are taught, when everything you know for 40 years becomes a lie, so to speak, or something that is so small that you've outgrown it. And when you pivot, when you shift into a new life, you had to find out a whole new person, like who Rodney was. How was that transition for you? Is that when you found meditation and spirituality and open up to your gift?
Yeah, it wasn't overnight. I was pretty lost for a few years. Different ways of numbing pain. It was quite a journey. It was quite a journey to discover what resonated with me. I had to go layer by layer. First I left the religion and said, I don't believe in this religion anymore, but I'm still Christian and I still believe the Bible. Then I had to ask myself, was that another level of programming? So I had to question that layer and the next layer and the next layer. Now, I'm not saying anything against these things. I'm just saying that was my personal journey where I had to ask myself, how many layers of programming do I have? How do I get where I wipe the chalkboard clean and start over again? And one thing I teach people, because I coach a lot of people who come from that religion today, is you go through 5 stages. Stage number one is the stage of doubt, where you first start doubting the religion and you're just doubting your life as you know it. Stage number two is a stage of fear, where you start fearing losing your belief systems, that you fear losing your family, you fear losing your friends. There's a lot of fear to make that next step. Stage number three is a stage of anger and resentment. For a lot of people, they stay in that stage forever, just angry that they've been lied to, angry that their family and friends won't listen to them, and they stay in that anger. But we all know we can't create the lives we want with that anger in us, with that angry energy in us. So I help people to get past that. And I was in stage 3 for a while. Stage 4 is a stage of discovery, where you wipe the chalkboard clean and you open yourself up to everything. Not that you have to accept everything, but you take in different knowledge. You go down different roads to see what resonates with you, right? And you don't have to accept all of everything. It's not all or nothing. You can take the different bits and pieces from this and that and see what resonates with you. And yes, meditation was a big part of stage 4, where you're just like, what is this? How do I find myself? Why do I keep looking out there for me? Why do I keep trying this and trying that? Maybe I got to go within to find me. Maybe me was always in there. And it's just releasing those layers to get back to the core of what you were as a child. Children seem to be closer to the truth than a lot of adults, because they come in pure. They resonate and they're attracted to what they are. Right? If they don't like a kind of food, they spit it out. If they want to play with blocks all day and they love that, they'll play with blocks all day long. If they like to kick a ball, they'll kick a ball all day long. They're very close to their truth. But for many of us, whether it's religion or something else, we get led down the road that our parents or society or schooling tells us we should be. But
Mm.
I had to release those layers to see who I really am. And yes, when you meditate, when you get into that state where your truth just comes out, your story starts to come out, you can't deny it. And you're like, This is who I am. And magic starts to happen. The people, opportunity, and circumstances that guide your life toward your truth start to appear. And you just go on this magical ride. And it's a beautiful thing when you could stop resisting and forcing what was told to you to be true. No, you have to allow your truth to come from within.
I got a chance to meet you years ago when you spoke. I think it was a book signing event. I remember you came on stage and you didn't start speaking until the room went silent. And then you started reciting these poems who just went straight to my heart and my soul. And I remember you were the only speaker that I came to that night. And I said, I don't know why, but I need to meet you. And you had the same instinct. You have such a way of not only commanding the silence of the room, but what comes through you when you speak, the poems that come through. And I wanted to share that with the audience for those who don't know your gift is you're able to channel poems like one after another. And I got to experience that firsthand. I would love the audience to get a sample of that.
Okay.
One poem that comes to your heart that you feel that our people right now that still feel lost. They're still searching for their truth, for who they are. What would be one poem that would touch their hearts
Mhm.
right now?
Yeah, it's amazing when you get into your truth, what comes out. Poems, I download them, I wake up with them, or they just hit me in the middle of the day. I never try to write poems, and I know that I'm just a vessel here to deliver this to you. So, for those of you who are searching, the one thing you have to know is you're born with a gift. It's not something you have to go out there to go find. It's in you that we came here with it. And this poem speaks to that. And it's called The Gift. It goes like this. There's a gift that dwells inside of you, bestowed by the universe. Your purpose lives within your heart, for it was given to you at birth. Your worth is not in question, but doubt won't let you see the greatness that resides inside of you. It's your belief that sets it free. This gift is not for you. Your gift is for us all. So consider it as selfishness if you don't heed your call. This life that we are blessed to live is not merely to exist. It's time to change your point of view, so take time to ponder this. Imagine yourself old. Your life is in review. Will you be filled with regret for the things you did not do? Will you have an empty feeling as you sit and stare, knowing that you will leave this earth with a gift you failed to share? So live to leave a legacy, and always remember this, that you are one of a kind and that you were born to shine, and your purpose is your gift.
So beautiful. May this word resonate with your heart, with your soul, with your mission, your purpose. What a beautiful gift. Thank you, Rodney. Next question that comes to me is when you got to the stage 4, which is discovering meditation, were you doing that kind of undercover for a while before you're able to share the downloads and things that are coming through you? Did you go through a period that you felt like, am I going crazy?
I had a time of a lot of confusion because my truth was coming out and my programming was there. It was a lot of confusion. It felt almost like an inner battle until these things that were so clear, like the poetry. When I downloaded, I think there was like a 6 week period where I just had poem after poem after poem after poem until I couldn't deny that truth was just coming out. That this is the truth. There's no denying that this is programming and this is your truth. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what comes out of anybody else. This is my truth. And I started to understand that I was a vessel, that we all are vessels. Who am I to question anything that comes out of Veronica? That no one could question me. And yes, meditation, it just, it's that spot where I wake up, not wake up, but when I come to, from the meditation, I'll have a poem. I will know that I have a poem and not know what it is. I'll know the subject matter, and I grab a pen and I start writing. Now, how this happened is I was meditating one day and I felt like I needed to journal. I felt like stuff needs to come out and I need to write down what's coming out. And I was dealing with all this religion stuff. And I'd never written a poem before. And at the time, I'm about 45 years old. And I grabbed my pen to journal. And this is what came out instead. Raised in beliefs that were never mine, a detachment from my true self showed over time. A lie I lived for so very long, never understanding my truth about what's right and wrong. Like a chameleon, I would change my colors at will, so the people I love would love me back still. But is it true love if it's taken away because something called truth is not seen the same way? See, we all have the power to use our own minds and seek understanding that we all wish to find. This journey is mine. It belongs to no other, no brother, no sister, no father or mother. See, I was created unique and like no one else, but my talents and gifts were then put on the shelf. Now it's time to break free from these chains and shatter the bondages inside of my brain. Now I finally am free. I can soar through the sky, for I was created in the image of the one who's most high. That's the first poem I ever wrote. And it took me about 5 or 10 minutes to write that down. I channeled that because it was exactly the message I needed at the time for my healing.
Mm. For whatever reason, I'm guided to ask you to share the poem that you wrote for my birthday. Was it 2 years ago?
Oh, see if I can remember that. Some I have committed to memory.
Because this is so aligned with what you just said in the first poem, which is how can the love that is given to me be true if I'm questioning the truth? We need a prototype of what a friendship should be like and feel like.
A friend. There's no more precious thing on earth than someone who looks past your flaws to see your priceless worth. A friend shows up when the chips are down, lends you a helping hand when you've hit the ground. A friend is there when you've lost your way and says a truth that others are afraid to say. When you're happy, a real friend is happy too, never jealous. A friend wants the best for you. Through life's ups and downs, a friend is there for a ride. You never feel alone. A friend is by your side. A friend and an acquaintance are not the same. One knows your heart, the other just your name. A friend is the wind that's beneath your wings. A friend believes in you in all your biggest dreams. You may know a lot of people, but you must understand that you can count your true friends on just one hand.
Hmm, beautiful. One question that comes to me is that on your path of finding who you are, of finding your light, you managed to have thousands of people following your path. And a question that a lot of healers, coaches, light workers have is that in a way they feel like they have to do all the training, they have to get to a moment that they're perfect before they're able to help others. What would you say to them in
Mm.
that case? Would you advise somebody to go through their journey, find full on clarity, be full on perfected before they're able to help others?
I use this analogy a lot. If you are a park ranger or a tour guide, or you wanted to be a tour guide, so you had a dream of being a tour guide, and your project was Mount Everest, you wanted to lead people up Mount Everest to the top. And you felt like you had to get to the top before you could ever be a guide. You had to get to the top, and you've never been to the top. Well, let's be honest. How many people are prepared to go to the top of Mount Everest? Very, very few. In fact, if you go up Mount Everest, there are deceased people who are frozen in state. They don't even move them. It's too difficult and dangerous to move. They're still there. It's very, very difficult, and most people are not prepared to go to the top of Mount Everest. But you think To become a ranger or a guide, you've got to get to the top, and you've never been to the top. You've only been halfway up. Here's a question. How many people have been halfway up Mount Everest? How good is the view from halfway up one of the tallest mountains in the world? Oh, it's a tremendous view. And most people are only prepared to do that anyway. So why would you wait till you get to the top when most people are not prepared to go there? Now, there might be somebody who's prepared to take the people who are ready to go to the top, who have done the training, who are ready to go to the top. Maybe there's another guide, another coach, another person who's prepared to take them the rest of the way. But don't wait, because there are a lot of people who will learn from your experience, who are prepared to use you, who are prepared to take in what you have to offer. Don't wait. If someone that wants to be a coach, don't wait. Don't say I can't coach until I can coach the professionals. Maybe you can be at the high school. They're ready for you. Maybe you can be at the little league. They're ready for you. Right. So never doubt yourself. And the experience you gain by working with the people who are ready for you is what will take you to the next level. So don't wait. If it's a calling, listen to it.
It's a calling, listen to it. What would you say to someone they made a huge shift in their life? They got divorced, or they left a religion or a cult, or they left their job. They're starting over and they're beyond lost. What would be one, two, or three hacks that they can do right now to find their balance?
First of all, like for me, meditation was key because it allowed me to hear the voice inside. Next, I would say stop focusing on what was lost. You could lose a lot of time being angry about who did you wrong, about why you're in the situation you're in. I wasted some years. When I got divorced, my best friend stole one of my businesses. He worked for me for 13 years. And I trust him like I've known him since I was 10 years old. And he became my competitor. And at my lowest point, took my business, one of my business. And I would walk around telling that story to anybody that would listen about, oh, I'm in this position and I'm broke now because he did this, and just pointing fingers. Life's not fair. It's not going to ever be fair. We are on the short end of the stick sometimes. People do us wrong sometimes. And I spent so much time in blame with this story. And as long as I told that story perpetuated. I was a victim. So I would say if you're starting over, do not be the victim. Life's not fair. You know, two people could get hit by a drunk driver last night. Both will never walk again. One person might lose everything because they're stuck on why me. It's an awful thing. I can't imagine that happening. I understand that temporary state of feeling sorrow. I get it. But that other person starts speaking on stages, inspiring people, making YouTube videos, just being this incredible person in spite of what happened. And that person ends up living a more impactful life than they ever would have as an able-bodied person. Same circumstance, just handled differently. So whatever situation we find ourselves in, we got to work from there. So try to avoid the victim mentality. Again, we get a pity party for a little bit. That's natural, but you can't stay there. Right. And number three, consistency. Whatever you're focused on, remember, life has its own GPS system. Once we find ourselves, then we get a vision. The GPS needs to know where we're at before it knows where we're going. For a lot of people, you're trying to get somewhere before you ever find out your starting point, right? They're looking for where they're going. No, the GPS needs to know where you're at. Plugging in an address does nothing if it doesn't find you first. So when you find yourself, then you could start visualizing and start living an intentional life, because you live either with intention or you live in reaction. When you live with intention, you know where you're starting, you know where you're going, and your life intentionally moves toward that North Star. But when you live in reaction, you're responding to life. You're not creating it. You're always responding to this happened, that happened. You're responding to things. Okay, so find where you are and then be consistent about your actions. Consistency and patience.
Mm,
That's a tough thing to have both of them, right? I mean, we get consistent and we want instant results, but consistency and patience, because life has its own kind of filter. The people who are not consistent, who are not really up for the challenge, they fall off. You got to get through that filter, that challenge where you're like, is this working or not? But when it's a calling, that's why it's important to do the thing that calls your heart and your mind at the same time. When your heart and your mind give you the same answer at the same time, you will always have the passion to get through the hard stuff. When you make a decision just with your head, it's not in your heart, you quit. There's no passion in it.
That's why we set up all these goals, and by Monday, we're done.
Mhm, mhm. When you have a passion for something, then you just do it. I mean, when I first started speaking on stages, when I would get a call sometimes, and I would have somebody tell me, Rodney, I can get you on this stage. We got this big thing in LA, and I can only get you 6 minutes. I would drive from Las Vegas to LA to get on that stage for 6 minutes, 12 minutes, little bitty short little clips. But it got me in front of people. People started to know who I was, and people wanted more. Like I'll do a poem or something, that little 6 minutes. They want more. It actually was a great thing, right? But there's no way I'm driving 4 hours to LA for something I'm not passionate about, for
Mm.
something that's just an idea. When I'm paying the money for gas and lodging and all of that to go do that. So when you're passionate, you will do it for free. I'll get a call sometimes. Detention center. This happened not long ago. The youth detention center here in Vegas. Hey, Rodney, can you come speak to the kids for Black History Month? We don't have any budget, but can you come on Thursday? Yeah, I'm going. If I
Mm.
can inspire these kids, it doesn't matter. I'm going. But I used to own a sewage pumping company. I'm not pumping a septic tank for free ever because there's no passion in that, right? That's strictly a transactional kind of thing. So find your passion, find where you are, find your North Star, and be consistent and patient. When things don't work out the way you want them to work out as quickly as you want them to work out, when you get to the other side, the dots will connect and you'll know why.
So find your why first.
I run a group of 10,000, over 10,000 ex-Jehovah Witnesses that I coach. I run seminars. We do a yearly cruise. We're about to go on a cruise. I never thought that was my path. And some things in the big speaking world didn't pan out as quickly as I wanted it to pan out, not knowing that the universe wanted me over here. And if that popped off as quickly as I wanted it to pop off, I wouldn't be doing this. And this is the most impactful thing I could do, because I moved to Vegas to speak on the Strip. I wanted to be on the speaking circuit on the Strip with all the conferences coming out there, and that was my goal. That's why I moved to Vegas. But if that popped off, I would never be doing this. Now, at those conferences I wanted to speak at, you could replace me with 1,000 other speakers. There's a lot of good speakers that could do those. But what I do here, because of my history as a Jehovah's Witness, Tony Robbins couldn't help these people like I can.
Yeah, because you
I
walk the
live,
path.
I walk the path. So I'm exactly where I should be. But I was consistent with the journey, and the universe kind of worked it out. Go, you got it, Rodney. But guess what? All of that is for you over here.
All of that was training for you to do what you do
Yes,
now, which is
yes,
speaking, being on stage, being able to command an
yes,
audience. Just like I
yes.
went through my acting, 10 years of my acting career, just to find out that I needed all those skills to do what I do today.
The dots connect looking backwards. Like,
They do.
that's why that happened, right? All the time I thought I was failing editing video and learning how to edit video and learning how to shoot things. And it's all the things I do today, and I do them easily because of all the time I spent doing it before. And they're like, I know how to do that. I already know how to do that, right? And I thought I was failing, but because I never quit, and then the universe puts me exactly where I should be. Things happen as they should if you're consistent.
Wow. This is so interesting because, and I want you to go back to this interview and write down those 5 steps that Rodney shared with us, because those 5 steps, you don't apply just to this particular situation. You can apply it with anything in your life. The reason we are here and not here, if this is where you want to be, is because we built this, we picked up these beliefs, the beliefs of the system. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. So you go through those 5 steps to break through those boundaries, to become fearless and to unleash your true potential. And I feel like you, Rodney, do that with such coolness. And I'm just gonna say that word because you're like the embodiment of cool. I have yet to see Rodney ever get out of this neutral, cool, grounded place. And I've known Rodney for what, 7 years now?
Been a while.
7 years. So it's amazing how much work you have done on yourself, on your field, to be so grounded and be that person, the role model for everyone that follows you. One thing that you mentioned that I'm guided to ask is that you speak a lot on schools, on bullying. Can you please share with us, for those parents who do have kids who are dealing with that kind of problems in their lives, how important is that work for our children? And what can we do to really make a difference if you're a parent?
What I teach when I do speak at schools about bullying, the bully and the person being bullied usually have a similar problem. It's self-love and self-belief, right? One might be bullying because they need to prove something. Something's missing, they need to prove something by taking it out of somebody else. Somebody else outwardly shows that lack of confidence and lack of belief, and that's why they're bullied. But teaching our children to see who they are, when we can build our kids up in the way they need to be built up, not in the way we want to build them up. Sometimes children are so far out of alignment because we're forcing what we want for them on them. And then they are not believing in themselves because we're not building up who they are, right? And they might feel like they're a disappointment at home, and they take that out at school. It's very important for us to build our children up in the direction that they are. I used to coach youth basketball when my son was young. I coached 9 seasons of sports. And there were some kids, you really shouldn't be on the basketball team. That's not what you do. I mean, no matter how much you work with this kid, I throw the ball in, hits him in the face. I mean, they're just not, that kid loves music, right? But daddy wanted a sports kid. Daddy wanted an athlete, but he's not an athlete. So now this kid might feel like a failure. This kid might get picked on because he's constantly put in environments that aren't for him. This kid really belongs over here. So it's really important as parents for us to see who our kids are, not who we wish them to be. And then they can thrive, and that confidence shows because it's all an energy. The kid who gets bullied, it's an energy thing. People are not that different than pets and dogs. But dogs know when somebody's fearful. Dogs know when somebody's not fearful. Dogs know a bad person. They just don't like them, right?
Dogs and children, they do,
Dogs and
yes.
children, right? But people are the same where they're picking up on energy. So it's very important as parents to build our children up in the direction of who they are. And sometimes it's very foreign from what we thought, maybe who we are. They're not us. They're not mini me's. Parents like to say that's a mini me. No, they're not. They are who they are.
Yes, and it's
And we
time
need
to
to build them up.
discover that and create the
Yes.
container for them to become who they're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. So that child that's kind of lost sometimes, that child is out of order. He's trying to fit in a place that he or she doesn't fit in. Oh, maybe that kid that's a natural thespian that needs to be in drama class. Then that child will be around their people, their tribe, and then start to feel good about themselves.
It's important because our childhood paints the trajectory of how we show up as adults in real life. And had we had more space to be and expand into who we were meant to be, we need so much healing and therapy as
Right.
adults.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I ask that is because there's so many gifted children that are coming up, especially this generations, and we don't have a system built for them. And we put labels like OCD, ADD, whatever. Like
So quick to throw on labels, yeah.
We put so many labels instead of being like, oh, my child is so advanced, has so much energy, wants to do this and that. Why don't we build a system
Yeah.
according to their
How
size?
many kids are very people that are very successful in whatever they're successful at, especially artistic people, that were the weird kid in school? It's usually a weird kid.
Yeah.
The one that was different, you know.
I call
Uh,
it unicorn. Not weird.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love the word better.
yeah. My friend, one of my best friends went to high school with Prince, graduated same class, same high school as Prince, and it's like, yeah, he was just always his own dude, just in his own world, right? And those are the people that at a young age they know who they are. We've got to accept people for who they are. The people that change the world are never the ones that fit in.
I do want to reiterate this subject for every parent out there because if you do have a child that is very unique, that is very different than anybody else, you have in your family the biggest gift that you could ever ask for. Because not only are they very advanced spiritually, but they can learn so, so, so fast.
Mhm.
I encourage you to allow your kids to be as weird, as different, as unicorn as possible. In fact, share with them that because they're so different, they're going to be the movers and shakers of the world. I doubt if there's a single person in this summit that hasn't felt like they're very different than anybody else. And a lot of times when we go through that build up of our personality, we try to do things like everybody else so we can fit in. And that
Yeah,
molds us into a made up version versus the fullness of who we are. I feel that one of your biggest missions is to help people break through this jail, this mental jail, so they can unleash the true potential of who they are. Am I correct?
yeah. And here's another thing that I think really holds people up. A self-limiting belief is people tend to have a really hard time accepting, embracing, and admitting their greatness.
Mm.
They believe it's conceit. I don't want to talk too high about myself. I can't. No, that feels weird to say. When you give somebody an ultimate compliment, they have ways of pushing it away. The secret sauce is ultimate confidence equaled with the same amount of humility. Confidence and humility, both. One does not negate the other. Putting yourself down does not make you humble. You see, the ego could come in different ways. If I were to speak on a stage and some great famous speaker was speaking before me, doing an awesome job, and if I was nervous, going, oh my gosh, I got to follow that person. Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Oh my God. Then I'm making it all about me. That is also ego.
Mm.
But if I embrace the message that that person is giving, going, well, the audience is so blessed to have that message. And guess what? They're double blessed because I get to follow that. They're double blessed because they get him and me. See, part of embracing your greatness is understanding that it's not about you.
Wow. And I want you to write this down. It's
Part
not
of embracing your greatness is realizing it's not about you. You're merely a vessel. So when I do poetry, it doesn't mean, oh, Rodney's so great. I can do this. I know. I am a vessel. It comes through me. And all of this is greatness, and I'm attached to it. So why am I not? It's not about Rodney Allgood. It's about the story of Rodney being pushed to the side so that can come through in its fullness. And everyone has that. When that monkey brain, that hamster's just running, we're blocking that. We're blocking that. And we're trying to figure everything out ourselves. When we get out of the way, our greatness comes through. That's why in that poem I said, this gift is not for you. Your gift is for us all. It's not about you. It's about allowing that gift to come through you to benefit the world. Because if it was about me, all those poems would be in a notebook right here, all for me. It's not about me. I'm ripping all of you off if I don't put it out there on the biggest forms that I can put it out. This needs to be in books and videos and put the music. I got all kinds of plans because it's got to get out there. You know, if you think about your favorite music artists, and all of us have a song that we go through when we're going through things, or maybe a song makes us happy. Every time I hear Pharrell's song "Happy," I get happy. I just start dancing around and singing. You know, that song does something to our emotions. Now, how selfish of him would it have been to hold that song back?
Mm, absolutely.
When you start looking at it that way, the things that impact your life that was just one person's idea to create this one piece of art that touched all of our lives. How selfish would it have been to hold that back? It's
Mm,
not about that person. That person was a vessel. So when you start looking at yourself as a vessel for greatness, and humility is this, humility is not playing small. Humility is not telling a small story about yourself. Humility is when you could take, you know, criticism, constructive criticism to get better. You can be great and get even better. And when you could say, you know what, that's a good idea. Okay, wow, I'll add that. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means that person's helping make you even greater. Humility is when you can see the gifts in another person, where I could say, I'm great at this, but not so much at that. Oh, Veronica's great at that. Let me turn to Veronica on that because that's not my gift. And if the whole world lived in their gift and saw the gift in the next person, what a world this would be.
what
If
a way to
everyone,
step into the new world, the new
right,
earth.
that is the new earth, right? Where you're stepping and sharing your gift. And you don't need to play small. You don't need to tell yourself a small story. It's a big story. It's already a big story. We just have to tap into it and believe it and allow it. Humility is when you acknowledge people. You know, how do you treat the waiter in the restaurant? You acknowledge that person, the person that comes to make up your room when you're in a hotel. Do you see that person? That's humility.
Recognizing that we're special, that there's something unique that comes through us, and see the same in others.
Mm-hmm.
That is the way to step into the new earth. That is the way to be the new human. What a beautiful, beautiful
100%.
message.
Mhm.
Rodney, because your palms are so activating and they literally bypass the conscious mind, go straight to the heart, straight to the soul. Would you recite a few palms for us for our VIP members?
Okay. So everything starts with gratitude. We need to be grateful. We need to focus on what's right in our lives more than what's wrong. We need to notice the little things. This poem is called Thank You.
That was beautiful. I just listened to all of it with my eyes closed. And your palms have so much power. The words just go exactly where they need to go. And the way I would explain it is that if I were to go back to when I was a child and I still had that strong remembrance of what I'm supposed to be here, what I'm supposed to do, I feel like that your words went straight to that place to activate that knowingness
Mm-hmm.
one more time within me. And my intention is that by listening to these poems, you get in touch with what your mission is, what your purpose is, and what your gift is. Because Rodney, you do have a special way of helping people find that clarity and set on their path, on their mission. And I'm so, so grateful to have you as my soul family. And I know we've been doing this for lifetimes. In conclusion, what is one more thing that you would like to share with our soul tribe?
Believe. Believe. You've heard the calling. You've heard it. Believe it. Accept it. You don't have to know how you're going to achieve what it is you want. Veronica said it earlier, the why. Begin to accept the what and the why. Those are the two things you need. Who am I? When you really find who you are, you'll know what you want. When you know what you want, the why is already there. If you just uncover it, it's there. And if you can't find something, understand this. Understand that you do not want to take your gift to the grave. That should be a big enough why in and of itself. That you want your footprints in the sand after you leave this incarnation. You want your voice to be echoing on after you leave. You want something of you to be imparted in other people. If you can't find another why, that should be a big enough why. That you mattered, that you came here and the world is a bit better because you existed. When you know the what and the why, the how will come in the form of people, opportunity, and circumstances that aren't even on your radar yet. When you move in the direction of your dreams, you will cross those things and people. It will come. Even going back, if when I used to study the Bible, right, there was a verse that said, faith without works is dead, which means you go in the direction of what you want and you move, even if you don't know how you're going to get there. And if you do that, you're showing that you believe already. Make it your truth now. Don't wait for all this proof. You make it your truth now. And if you make it your truth now, then the curtain will open and you'll see. Okay, so don't wait. Don't wait till you're ready. Don't wait till all your ducks are in a row. They'll never be in a row. You just go.
And it's 11:11 on my computer right now.
Mm.
Thanks to all the angels. Wow, Rodney, that was so beautiful, so impactful, and I could listen to you for days. I love what you do in the world, and I'm so grateful that you listened to your mission, that you walked your own path, that you found your own tools, and now you're able to help thousands and thousands and thousands of other people who have gone through the same path, who have been through the same journey as you. In a way, I see you as the philosopher of our generation. And for those of you who are meeting Rodney for the first time, he's truly, truly, truly one friend that you want in your life, whether it's joining his group and listening to his wisdom, the channels through Rodney, whether it's joining the VIP and enjoying the beautiful channeled poems that would activate you. However, you find your way, Rodney is definitely one of those people that you want to listen to, get guidance from, and have it in your path for the rest of your life because we're truly in this together. And it's amazing to have mentors and light workers in your life. They're truly here to build this new earth. Rodney, I'm so grateful to have you as a friend. Thank
Likewise.
you.
Likewise.